Hello, good morning, everybody. Today concept is breathing and exchange of gases, nothing but human respiratory system. So in breathing and exchange of gases, we have to discuss the few points. Number one, respiratory tract. Respiratory tract. Number two, pulmonary volumes and capacities. And number three, mechanism of respiration. And number four, transport and exchange of gases. And number five, regulation of respiratory activities. Regulation of respiratory activities. Let us check for the first one, that is respiratory tract. Respiratory tract consists of two segments. One is conducting path. Another one is exchanging path. Let us see. Nose, nasal chamber, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, alveolary duct, alveoli, also called air sac. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 important areas are being covered in the respiratory path. In that, nose consists of one pair nostrils. Nasal chamber is also called chamber of humidity. There, some hair particles are there to trap the dust and microbes. Pharynx, the mainly nasopharynx, where it separates the food tract and air tract by the epiglottis. Larynx is called voice box. Trachea is called windpipe, made up of hyaline cartilage. Bronchi and bronchioles, further bronchial tree will be there. They are opens into right and left lungs. Later, alveolary duct, it's also called terminal bronchioles, and alveoli, where exchange of gases takes place. So this is the simple path. Let us see where it is end with the conducting, where exchanging part. So these are the nostrils. Nostrils opens into a nasal chamber. And this is nasal chamber. And this nasal chamber opens into the pharynx. This is pharynx, also nasopharynx. Then here, actually this is the
20 hours.
This is the trachea. And this is the food pipe. Food pipe means esophagus. Trachea means windpipe, where air enters through this. Here, this is epiglottis. And here, this is the where air is entered through. This is called tracheal opening, larynx. Here, larynx will be there. Larynx consists of vocal cords. They produce sound. That's why vocal cords called. That's why larynx is called voice box or sound box. Then this trachea. Further divided into two branches at fifth thoracic vertebrae. Then they are called bronchi. Each bronchi further divided again. They are called primary bronchiole. Primary bronchiole. Again, it will be divided. It's called secondary bronchiole. Secondary bronchiole. Again, it will be divided. Is called terminal bronchiole. Terminal bronchiole. All these together is called bronchial tree. Then it will be open into alveoli. Then this is called alveolary duct. This is called alveolary duct. So guys, sorry for the interruption. And all these are present in both the lungs. All these are present in both the lungs. See. This is one lung, and if this is another lung, each lung consists of both. Let me give you the clear picture again. See, this is the trachea. From the trachea, bronchi, right bronchi and left bronchi. Trachea is made up of C-shaped cartilaginous rings that are made up of hyaline cartilage. Even for the bronchi also, same cartilage is present. But trachea is lined by columnar ciliated epithelium and bronchi is lined by cuboidal ciliated epithelium. This is the right lung, whereas this is the left lung. Left lung have cardiac notch. Right lung is broader, left lung is narrow. Right lung have 3 lobes, left lung have 2 lobes. And these are further divided into branches. Right? And entire lungs are covered by pleura membrane. Pleura membrane, which protects the lungs, from shocks and injuries. Like this. And here, heart is located. The place where heart is located is called mediastinum. This place is called mediastinum. Okay, and this is the right lung. This is the left lung. Okay, and this is the anterior lobe, and this is middle lobe, and this is posterior lobe. 3 lobes are present here. Here, left anterior and left posterior. Total number of lobes, 5, both the lungs together. Total number of compartments, here 8, 10, 10 compartments are present total. Here 8 compartments are present. Okay. Now every terminal bronchiole ends with the alveoli. This is alveoli, alveolary duct. This is alveoli. Wall of alveoli is rich in blood vessels, so that exchange of gases, oxygen goes into the blood and carbon dioxide comes out. Exchange of gases takes place in the alveoli. Alveoli is lined by simple squamous epithelium. Understand? Trachea, this is the trachea. Trachea is lined by columnar ciliated epithelium. Bronchi is lined by cuboidal ciliated epithelium, and alveoli is lined by simple squamous epithelium. This is how the branches further bifurcates. Now, from nostrils to tertiary bronchioles, entire this track is called conducting path. Conducting path. Whereas from terminal bronchi, also called alveolary duct, to alveoli, entire this is exchanging path. In exchanging path, 150 ml of gas will be there. In conducting path, 350 ml of gas can be exist. This is so important. Altogether is 500 ml per breath, whether in inspiration or in expiration. From the nostrils to alveoli, 500 ml of gas can be filled. That is called tidal volume. In that, 350 ml is in conducting path, 150 ml in exchanging path. Let us see volumes and capacities. Pulmonary volumes. And pulmonary capacities. Pulmonary capacities. Pulmonary volumes are tidal volume, inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, inspiratory reserve volume. Third one is expiratory reserve volume. Fourth one is residual volume. These four will be there. Inspiratory reserve capacities are inspiratory capacity, expiratory capacity, functional residual capacity, vital capacity, total lung capacity. So there are four pulmonary volumes and 5 pulmonary capacities are listed here. Let us see each and every one. Tidal volume means amount of air that you are inspire per minute. Sorry, inspire per breath. That will be 500 ml per breath. Number of inspirations are simply 12 to 16 per minute. So that 500 into 16, that are 6,000. 500 into 16, that is 8,000 ml per minute. This is called tidal volume. Inspiratory reserve volume, that will be 2,500 to 3,000 ml per minute. Expiratory reserve volume, that is 1,000 to 1,100 ml. Whereas residual volume, 1,100 ml to 1,200 ml per breath. Inspiratory reserve volume means amount of air that is by forced inspiration by our lungs. Expiratory reserve volume means amount of air present in the lungs after normal expiration. Reserve volume, it is remain in the lungs after forced expiration. Right? Now, what is inspiratory capacity? Inspiratory capacity means TV plus IRV. Tidal volume 500 plus IRV, that will be 2500 to 3000. Total 3000 to 3500. Expiratory capacity means TV plus ERV. Here the value is TV means 500 plus ERV. ERV means 1000 to 1100 together. FRC, functional residual capacity, means EC plus RV, nothing but residual volume. Vital capacity means all exclude residual volume. So TV plus IRV plus ERV plus, sorry, RV will not be there. That's it. Whereas total lung capacity means all TV plus IRV plus ERV plus RV all together. So this is how, by using spirometer, lungs capacities and volumes can be diagnosed. Now, mechanism of respiration. Mechanism of respiration. Mechanism of respiration have two phenomenons. One is inspiration or inhalation, another one is expiration or exhalation. Inspiration or inhalation, expiration or exhalation. Let us see detail. In inspiration, oxygen enters from nostrils to alveoli. This is the path. Whereas expiration means carbon dioxide comes out to alveoli to nostrils. This is out path. This is in path. During inspiration, muscles which are in contract are diaphragm plus intercostal muscles. Diaphragm plus intercostal muscles together contract. Then what happens? Rib cage developed dorsoventrally. Dorsoventrally means up and down side, and also anterior-posterior axis means up and down. Clear in this? So that inspiration takes place. Whereas in the expiration, what happens? Relaxation of diaphragm plus intercostal muscles is equal to dorsoventral muscles are together relaxed, and rib cage also compressed so that air goes out. Let us see. During inspiration, what happens? Step 1, diaphragm plus intercostal muscles contracts. Results, rib cage develop in anterior posterior axis plus dorsoventral axis. Result, thoracic cavity increases. Result, pulmonary cavity increases. So that gases comes inside. So that is why this process is called inspiration. In expiration, what happens? Step 1, diaphragm plus intercostal muscles relax. That results rib cage will be decreased. Nothing but rib cage space will be decreased, not increased. Okay. Then anterior posterior axis plus dorsoventral axis will be developed, relaxed. This will be relaxed. Relaxed means what? Thoracic cavity will be decreased. Then pressure will be decreased. increased. Okay, area shorts plus pressure will be increases. Then pulmonary cavity also decrease. That results gas, nothing but carbon dioxide goes out. Is called expiration. This is the difference between them. Now let us see the transport of gases. Transport of gases. Before that, let us discuss the exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. Where to where they will exchange? Let us see. This is suppose atmosphere. Atmosphere to lungs. Lungs to blood. Blood to tissue. This is what? Oxygen path. Oxygen is entering from atmosphere to lungs, lungs to blood, blood to tissue. Whereas if you see the carbon dioxide path, carbon dioxide is coming from tissues to blood, it's a carbon dioxide, and blood to lungs, carbon dioxide is coming, lungs to atmosphere, carbon dioxide is coming. This is oxygen path. This is the oxygen path. And this is a carbon dioxide path. This is carbon dioxide path. Partial pressures plays a very important role here. In atmosphere, partial pressure of oxygen will be 159.6 mmHg. Whereas in the lungs, that is 104. Whereas in the blood, that is actually 90, sorry, that will be 45 and increase it to 90. And the tissues, that will be 40 mmHg. These all are the partial pressures of oxygens in different places. Understand? Now, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, if you observe, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, PCO2, we call in tissue is 45. In blood, it will be 40, increase it to 45. In deoxygenated blood, that is 45. In oxygenated blood, that is 40. This is oxygenated blood, this is deoxygenated blood. And this is 40. Deoxygenated blood, this is oxygenated blood. Now in the lungs, it will be 40 mmHg. In atmosphere, this is 0.3 mmHg. So these are the different partial pressures. Exchange of gases between atmosphere and lungs is different. Lungs to blood is different. Blood to tissue is different. Atmosphere and lungs, oxygen goes and carbon dioxide comes. This is called breathing. This is called breathing. Whereas from lungs, oxygen goes to blood, and from blood, carbon dioxide comes to lungs. This is called external respiration. External respiration. Whereas oxygen from blood to enter tissues, tissues releases carbon dioxide. This exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and tissue is called internal respiration. Internal respiration. So this is how so many important points are there here. One should understand partial pressures of oxygen in atmosphere, lungs, blood, and tissue. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide in tissue, blood, lungs, and atmosphere. And what is breathing? What is external respiration? What is internal respiration? All these are important points. Now let us see transport of gases. Partial pressures are helping very much in transport of gases. Transport of gases, we can see what are the gases transport? Oxygen transport and carbon dioxide transport. Oxygen transport done by plasma and RBC. Whereas carbon dioxide transport can be done by plasma, hemoglobin, and also RBC. Let us see the percentage of transport. Plasma transport, if the oxygen is 100%, which plasma transport, which is about just 3%. Understand? Whereas rest of 97% of oxygen can be done by hemoglobin present in the RBC. In which form? Oxyhemoglobin form. Maximum amount of oxygen can be transported through RBC. Now let us see. Plasma carries carbon dioxide, that is just the 7% out of 100. Whereas hemoglobin carries, this is 23%, and rest of 70% is carried by RBC. In RBC, in which form it will go? Bicarbonates. And hemoglobin, this is carboxyhemoglobin form. In plasma, which is carbonic acid, HCO3, H2CO3 form. Okay, all these reactions in depth we will see. Studying transport of oxygen. Transport of oxygen. Transport of oxygen always from atmosphere to tissue. In that, what carries here? Blood carries. This is the bloodstream. Okay. In bloodstream, plasma consists of water. With water, oxygen dissolves. In the dissolved form, just 3% is traveling to the tissue. Rest of 97% of oxygen bind with hemoglobin, forms oxyhemoglobin, which is oxyhemoglobin form, where here oxyhemoglobin will be again divided into hemoglobin and oxygen. It will be here. Oxygen association happened at lungs, nothing but, sorry, this is the lung, this is tissue. Okay, and what are the important factors required for oxyhemoglobin association? Means pH should be high, partial pressure of oxygen should be high, temperature should be low, and partial pressure of carbon dioxide should be low. In these conditions, oxygen will be bind to the hemoglobin. That is a saturation capacity. Whereas oxyhemoglobin dissociation required conditions like pH should be less, partial pressure of carbon dioxide should be high, partial pressure of oxygen should be low, and temperature should be high. In these conditions, from the hemoglobin, oxygen will be released into the tissues. This is called Bohr effect. Bohr effect. Understand? Now, let us see transport of carbon dioxide. Transport of carbon dioxide. Transport of carbon dioxide begin from tissue towards lungs. Towards lungs. So here also blood is the key factor. So this is the blood. In the bloodstream, how they will travel, let us see. In the tissue, carbon dioxide is 100%. Then 7% of carbon dioxide react with the water present in the plasma. Then H2O plus CO2 gives rise to H2CO3. This is carbonic acid. This carbonic acid form is just 7%. Right? Later, 100 minus 7, that is 93%. In this 93%, entire thing enter to RBC. In the RBC, 23% attached to the hemoglobin. Other 70% dissolved in the water present in the RBC. In the same reaction, H2CO3 will form in the RBC. Then H2CO3 divided into H plus and plus HCO3 minus. This H plus will go and bind with the hemoglobin. This HCO3 goes out of the RBC. Instead of that, chloride ion comes in. This is called chloride shift. This is called chloride shift. Chloride shift happens at the tissue. As this goes, once the RBC reaches the lungs, the chloride ions comes inside, means reverse shift. Chloride reverse shift. Then what happens? Hemoglobin releases HCO3. HCO3 plus hemoglobin also releases H. Together H2CO3. Here H2CO3 broken into CO2 plus H2O. This CO2 goes to lungs, that is 70%. Plus 23% of HHB form. Together is 100%. For this, partial results also very important. I will write neatly carbon dioxide transport by RBC. CO2 transport by RBC. First reaction, 23% of carbon dioxide binds to hemoglobin. That becomes carboxyamino hemoglobin form. Next, 70% of carbon dioxide bind to the water present in the RBC. Water present in the RBC. It means H2CO3. On this H2CO3, carbonic anhydrase enzyme. What is this? Carbonic anhydrase enzyme act. Then it will be split into H plus and HCO3 minus. This is what happened at the tissue. Later, this is at tissue. Whereas at lungs, what happens? At lungs, okay, this HCO3 gather H plus and form H2CO3 again. This H2CO3 released as carbon dioxide and water. Here also carbonic anhydrase enzyme required, but one enzyme gives two different types of products because this is at tissue, this is at lungs. Both the places temperature is different. That is the reason. Now, regulation of respiration. Regulation of respiration. Regulation of respiration is at brain. Two places. One is medulla oblongata, pons varolei. Another one is medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata gives 12 to 16 signals per minute by respiratory rhythm center, RRC. Respiratory rhythm center is present in medulla oblongata. Whereas in the pons varolei, there are two centers are there. One is pneumotoxic area, which regulates lesser or greater the 12 to 16 beats per minute. So this is alteration area, that is called pneumotoxic area. Another one is also there, chemosensitive area, which is sensitive for carbon dioxide and H plus concentration in major blood vessels. So this is how in brain, medulla oblongata and pons varolei are regulating our respiratory activities. Some disorders, if you see, respiratory disorders. Number one, asthma. Number two, bronchitis. Number three, emphysema, also called smoker's cough. Smoker's cough. Next, SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome, and also COVID, occupational respiratory disorders. All these are respiratory disorders. So guys, revise NCERT lines and attend SM. I hope you understand. Wish you all the best.